AITA for going behind my wife's back and telling her to stop being the cool mom. My wife has 2 kids from a previous relationship, Jen and Tom. Recently, I caught Jen trying to steal alcohol and weed from my locked cabinet. I told my wife about it, but she brushed it off, saying Jen apologized and didn't need punishment. I felt Jen's dad should know, so I texted him. My wife is now furious, saying I overstepped by involving him and that it's just normal teenage rebellion. My wife, 38F, and I, 40M, have been married for 2 years. She has 2 kids from a previous relationship, Jen, 16F, and Tom, 12M. My wife has primary custody of the kids, so they live with us for the most part. Their dad is still present in their lives and is petitioning the court to change their custody agreement to give him more time with them. He's a decent guy and we get along fine, but my wife still holds some animosity towards him. I like to think the 3 of us co-parent together well, but I also understand my role is more secondary than theirs. It is homecoming week at Jen's school. She is in her junior year, and a few weeks ago she was asked to attend the homecoming dance by a senior boy. She was very excited, and my wife took her dress shopping and set up a hair and nails appointment. The whole deal. I think my wife was almost more excited about it than Jen was. Last Friday, I caught Jen trying to steal alcohol and weed from my locked liquor cabinet. Weed is legal here, but I still keep all my alcohol and weed in a locked cabinet. My wife was running errands with her son before taking the kids to their dad's for the weekend. I caught Jen red-handed, literally with a bottle of rum in one hand and a handful of pre-rolled joints in the other. I waited until my wife came home and told her what happened. She was mad, but was also running late, so she told Jen they'd talk about it on the way to her dad's. When she got back, I asked her how the drive went with Jen. She said it went about as she expected. Jen apologized and said it wouldn't happen again. I asked what she decided on for punishment, and she said nothing, since Jen didn't actually take anything. So basically no harm, no foul. I asked her if she told her ex about it, and she said no. I told her she is being extremely generous with Jen in this situation, and I feel like she's being too lenient. I told her at the very least her ex deserves to know so that he can keep an eye on anything he might have at his place, but she didn't think he needed to know. I ended up texting Jen's dad to let him know what happened. He must have talked with Jen because there was a pretty loud phone call going on about an hour later. My wife stormed into the room I was in and demanded to know why I went behind her back. She told me I have no business getting involved the way I did, and I should have let her handle it. I told her she wasn't handling anything by pretending it didn't happen and that her ex deserved to know, apparently. He thinks Jen's punishment should be missing out on the homecoming dance, which caused a major meltdown from Jen, which led to the phone call. My wife thinks I crossed a major line and I should leave all parenting to her. She said Jen's actions are normal teenage rebellion. I told her that the cool mom thing isn't doing anyone any favors. Jen's dad is really pushing to keep Jen home from the dance, but my wife is still thinking of letting her go. Relevant comments. Commenter, NTA, I'm 16. She was stealing substances from you. That's a huge offense. Both parents need to know about something like that. If my parents caught me doing something like that, forget homecoming. I wouldn't be allowed alone until graduation. Op's wife, if you're reading this, you're an a-hole, not only to your husband and your ex, but to your daughter as well. The real world doesn't work like that, and she's gonna find out real fast. The right thing to do isn't to pretend it never happened. I don't live with very strict parents. If I wanted a sip of their alcohol, they'd let me. The fact that your daughter went behind your backs is proof that she knows that if she asked, you'd say no. Commenter, NTA, your wife still plans on doing nothing, though that's an issue. I understand that I'm a secondary parent and don't get to drive the car, but this is a major issue and I'm pulling the emergency brake. I feel that daughter needs to be punished. She did steal drugs and alcohol from me. If I hadn't been there, she would have consumed and distributed what she took. This is a major issue. We can't supervise her 24/7. This is going to happen again unless we have a conversation with her with consequences. Relevant comments. Commenter, I personally would take the baby to the authorities and say that he has been abandoned by both parents. Tell CPS you could take him, but considering the abandonment, you thought this should be a formal process. This way, if you want to adopt him, they both have to pay child support. I know it seems like a roundabout way to get things done, but sometimes you have to let the red tape work for you. If you file abandonment, your sister gets a pretty little record as well. She will also have the CS debt following her. He may or may not decide to take his son, but legally he has to be afforded the option. So you do all the right things. She is formally abandoning him, so that needs documented, so she can't try to pluck him from his home later when it's convenient. She either needs to terminate her rights or be forced to pay child support. He needs to at least pay CS, if not taking his kid. OP, so just a small clarification. He was present, kinda, in this baby's life. He visited once a week or once every 2 weeks. He cares for the baby's well-being, but only in a very superficial manner. He wants the child safe. That's it. I even heard him saying to her once, "Take care of my son." So, I will try this way. He is not paying child support, but he gives her money all the time, a lot of it. If he goes to the authorities to have permission to take the baby, that would be an option. I can take care of the child for a few days until the issues are solved. I care for my nephew, so I don't want to play games with this guy. Like threatening him, I will tell his wife. I want him calm and focused on the child. Story 4. AITA for refusing to help my brother pay for our mom's surgery. My mom is 65, and she recently found out she needs a knee replacement surgery that insurance won't fully cover. My older brother called me to ask if I could contribute half of the out-of-pocket expenses, which come to about $12,000. The thing is, I've been financially struggling for the past few years. I recently had to take out a loan for my car, and I've been barely managing to stay on top of my bills. My brother, on the other hand, has a high-paying job, a huge house, and takes vacations all the time. I explained to him that I just don't have that kind of money right now, but he wouldn't let it go. He accused me of being selfish and not caring about our mom's health. He said that he's already contributing more than his share since he's the one taking care of her day to day. And he's right. I live in a different city, so he shoulders most of the caregiving burden. But it's not like I don't care about our mom. I love her, but I feel like my brother doesn't understand my financial situation. He told me I should just take out another loan to help, but the thought of adding more debt is terrifying. Now, my brother isn't speaking to me, and I feel guilty every time I talk to our mom because I haven't told her about this. She knows she'll need help with the surgery, but I don't think she realizes the fight it's causing between my brother and me. The tension escalated when I suggested that my brother, given his financial standing, might be able to contribute more than half, which sent him over the edge. He said I was taking advantage of his success and not stepping up when it matters most. He pointed out that he's the one sacrificing his time and energy by looking after Mom, and that the least I could do was help financially. I know he's under a lot of stress, but I can't give what I don't have. Our conversations have become heated, with both of us feeling misunderstood. Now, my brother is talking about cutting ties if I don't come through. I feel torn between my responsibilities and my financial reality. AITA for not helping to pay for the surgery when my brother is already doing so much. Thank you for sticking around until the end. If you liked our videos, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with our latest content. Have a wonderful day. Commenter, the only reason Jen didn't actually take anything is because you caught her red-handed. You know damn she would have taken them had you not shown up when you did. You may have overstepped about telling her ex, but that's a justified move. Someone has to parent Jen and teach her that her actions have consequences, and it's obviously not going to be your wife. Story 2, AIO. Girlfriend of 10 years brought 2 men home. Me, 27M, and GF, 27F, have been together since high school. We took some time apart from each other to work on ourselves after a huge fight, where I felt that she didn't defend or protect me, so we gave it some time, but we're still together. As I'm working on myself and ready to get back, I ask her if she has done anything during this time apart that I should know about. After an hour of prying, she tells me that she went to hookah with her brother, his date, and he brought 2 males with him. They hang out for a while. My brother says he's going home with his date, but my GF want to keep drinking. She's drunk at this point, so she lets one of the men drive her car. They all go to her parents' house. She doesn't have her own spot. Her Google location data on her phone showed she stayed at her house for half an hour, with these men then left. Then she goes to one of the other dudes' houses at 1 a.m. They spend half an hour there. Then they leave that man at his house. She lets the other man drive himself home. Then she finally goes home. She admitted to this after I saw it. She says nothing happened. They are her brother's friends. Argues one of them may be married, but she's not sure. She has never given me an indication that she has ever cheated or even came close to it. Also, she tried to lie about the timeline, hid this from me for over a month, and I had to pry to get this information. She would not give me their phone numbers immediately, saying I was angry and she didn't want anything to happen. So she gave me their info a few days later when she would have already had an opportunity to talk to them and make up a story. I still called. Guy got aggressive with me and hung up. I got no real information. She maintains nothing happened because these are older men that are her brother's friends, and she just met them that night. Am I overreacting by saying we should break up and keep it that way? I did that 2 weeks ago, but she keeps trying to win me back. It's not easy to leave someone after 10 years, especially if you are unsure if they really cheated, and because they never gave an indication of that before. Edit. Some people are confused, so I will clear it up. We both mutually agreed to take some time apart from each other to be better people for the relationship. We agreed that we are still together and faithful to each other so as to not introduce additional issues to the relationship. We just needed some space, but it was not a breakup whatsoever. We mutually agreed to be faithful to each other. I have stayed faithful, and I was under the impression that she was too. We would check in with each other all the time. I hope that clears it up for some people. Relevant comments. Commenter, you went wrong by trying to call the guys to confirm her story in the first place. You are operating from a place of desperation instead of a place of empowerment. You need to date other people and discover your value. I don't worry even for a second about what someone I am dating is doing or with whom. She is going to do what she wants regardless. If she values and respects me, she won't cross that line. The reality is, we both have plenty of options. Once a woman loses the tingles for you, there is not much you can do to recapture that magic, other than better yourself and move forward. So, commenter, I'm a woman giving some input. It sounds like you took time apart because of her actions towards you, and she agreed to it so she could do whatever she wanted to without any repercussions. Hence, why you never know about her doing that. She also made you pry for an entire hour. She saw an opportunity and took it. She agreed not to introduce new issues to the relationship. What did she do? She introduced the biggest issue into the relationship. If I was in a relationship, there's no way I'd be out with another man, let alone 2 men by myself late as fuck at night. You should probably just end it completely. She was never concerned with making the relationship better, clearly. And you can't trust her, especially without actually knowing what went down that night. So without trust, there is no relationship that's going to last. Just a relationship that will explode and end in a really bad way. This woman is not marriage material either. Also, she got drunk alone with 2 men still in the relationship with you. I really hope you do not believe her. I hope you leave her and find who will love you even in a time of separation. She was not focused on herself or changing herself to better the relationship between you both. Considering again you had to pry for an hour. An hour? That's not how you treat someone when you're in a relationship. That's shitty-ass behavior from someone who should be single. Story 3. My 34F little sister, 24F, wants me to raise the child she had with a married man, 41M. What do I do? My little sister has been a spoiled brat her whole life and believed she deserves men that are top 10 with money and career. She was always arrogant. We are from a poor family, and I always tried to make sure she has clean clothes, good food, clean room. It was difficult, but I done everything I could for her. She spends all her money for makeup and hair products to attract a man who is worthy of her. She also put me down many times for marrying a man who is not wealthy, so she started sleeping with a married man with lots of money. She knew he is married but never listened and called me envious and jealous, so I just gave up and let her be. She got pregnant with him. He wanted her to abort. I wanted her to abort. In the end, she convinced him to accept her with this baby. She told him that she is fine with keeping the secret, that she will never complicate his life, that this baby she will raise by herself, and he will just visit when he wants. She was fixated on the idea that if she is an obedient kitten, he will leave his wife. So she gave birth to a baby boy, which also made her feel very proud because she gave him a son, and suddenly wanted all of this man's time and attention. She texted him even 10 times a day to come to see his child, to be with her. She faked illness. She lied about her baby's health and told him they are in hospital while they were home. He came. They had a huge fight because she dared to play him. This scenario repeated itself for 2-3 times. Most recently, he got so angry with her that he slapped her across the face. I took her baby and me with my husband took care of the child for 3 days. She is now completely broken, angry, depressed, and told me to keep it, the baby, that she doesn't want it anymore as he didn't bring her the man she loves. I am so angry and frustrated, but this boy is my family, so no idea what to do. I thought about contacting him. It's his child edit. He does send money to her, just not officially, and lots of money. He also visits 1 or 2 a month and spends time with them both. So he might be an option update. She called me. She was calm and apologized for everything. She said she wanted the baby back, that she didn't mean it, so I think it is fine for now. She also said she would go to therapy, and this guy promised he would pay for her therapy.